Imagine being so focused that your work feels like Netflix. You sit down, open your laptop, and boom, you're locked in. No distractions, just pure flow state. Now, what if I told you that there's a secret protocol you can use to train your brain to love doing hard work every single day? In fact, this protocol has been used by monks, Navy SEALs, and billion-dollar founders for decades to enter unbreakable focus states. And no, it's not drinking more banned substances or more coffee. This is about using neuroscience-backed rituals that rewire your focus baseline so your brain craves to work. The best part is that anyone can leverage this exact same protocol to unlock insane focus and make work feel like Netflix. And in the next few minutes, I'll show you exactly how to use this protocol to get so focused you forget your phone exists, hours fly by, and work feels like a movie that you can't stop watching. Because here's the truth, if you can't focus for more than 30 minutes straight, it's not because you're lazy, it's because your focus muscles are weak. Let me explain. Picture this. A guy walks into a gym. He loads up the squat bar with 400 pounds, but he's never lifted in his life. Of course he can't lift it. Not because he's lazy, but because the actual muscle isn't trained. Focus works the same way. And there's a group of humans that has mastered the art of focus, concentration, and discipline. In fact, their ability to focus is so phenomenal that they have been studied by neuroscientists hundreds of times. And what we now know about them is that they've mastered their ability to train the executive brain, the part of the brain that is responsible for deep concentration and focus. The intense type of training monks go through gives them skills that may seem superhuman, pressing spears on their throats with no injuries, laying on a bed of nails, breaking concrete with their heads, and even pulling vehicles with their genitals. But amongst the hundreds of crazy exercises that they do, there's this one exercise they all swear by. It's ancient, it's sacred, and it's one of the most powerful focus builders ever discovered. It's called mindfulness meditation. You've probably heard about it before, and you've probably even seen your favorite influencer film themselves doing it. But the issue is that most people do it wrong. You see, when you practice mindfulness meditation the right way, it trains the part of your brain that is responsible for concentration and focus, your prefrontal cortex. But here's the part nobody tells you. Most people sit down, close their eyes, and try to empty their minds. And within 30 seconds, they're thinking about Slack notifications, emails, and what they're eating for lunch. Real meditation isn't about sitting down and just being silent. It's about training your attention. Most people think that they're failing at meditation just because they're getting distracted, but that's actually the whole point. Just like doing reps in the gym for your biceps, every time your mind wanders and you bring it back, that's one rep for your prefrontal cortex. And with every rep, your focus muscle just got stronger. And by strengthening that muscle in the exact same way monks have been doing for thousands of years, you stop getting distracted, you stop chasing dopamine from 15 different tabs open, and instead you start diving into deep work with monk-like clarity. And even 10 minutes a day is enough to rewire your focus baseline. That's why Navy SEALs, billionaire founders, and Olympic athletes do it. Because when your focus muscle is strong, you can enter that deep productive state on command without needing 3 coffees and a pack of nicotine pouches just to function. Now here's the part 99% of the productivity advice completely ignores. Even if you've trained your focus muscle, there is still one reason why people can't tap into that deep work mode when it actually matters. Have you ever sat down to focus and just stare at your screen? Brain fog, scattered thoughts, 15 different tabs open, but you just can't seem to get stuff done. That's not a willpower problem, and it's not because you're lazy, it's because your brain doesn't know that it's time to focus. See, your brain runs on cues, little signals that tell it what to do, especially from your vision. It's simple, it's fast, and it's something elite snipers, archers, and flow state researchers all understand. They train their eyes before they train their minds, because your gaze controls your attention. When you lock your gaze on a single point, your brain starts to sink into deep focus mode. So next time you start work, set a small visual anchor on your desk. A rock, a sticker, a candle flame, even just the corner of your screen. Now here's the key. Don't let your eyes drift. Just focus on that spot for 60 seconds before you start your work session. What you're doing is priming the part of your brain that is responsible for alertness and attention, your reticular activating system. And this quick ritual tells your brain that it's actually focus time. It's like turning on the mental light switch. And once it's on, your mind is far more likely to stay locked in, even if you have distractions starting to creep in. Now, training your eyes to focus better with the visual anchoring will improve your productivity, but there's another protocol that literally neuroscientists created in a lab. And it's one of the most elite focus protocols ever discovered. It's so powerful that even the most elite military forces in the world use it it before their missions to unlock superhuman focus and flawless execution. And it's called Dual and Back. Dual and Back is a cognitive training task that challenges your working memory and attention span at the same time. Here's how it works. You hear a letter and then you see a square pop up in a random location. Your job is to remember what happened 2 steps ago, both the sound and the visual. And at first, it's brutally difficult. But studies show that just 20 minutes a day of Dual and Back over a few weeks measurably improves your fluid intelligence, the raw horsepower of your brain. It trains your prefrontal cortex and your parietal lobe, the areas of your brain responsible for complex problem solving and deep focus. And this is exactly why peak performers run it like mental sprints. It's not about getting good at the game, it's about conditioning your brain for elite focus. And if you stack this with meditation and visual anchoring, you've got a trifecta of protocols to enter flow state on demand. Now, even with a strong focus muscle and elite tools like Dual and Back, there is still one hidden trap. One reason why smart people still can't focus. It's because your brain's reward threshold is too damn high. We live in a world that has 4K dopamine delivery on command. Our days are literally engineered for fast and random dopamine hits. So when you finally sit down to work, your brain compares it to everything else and thinks, this is completely boring, let's just scroll. If you want your brain to enjoy hard work, you need to make everything else less fun. Let me explain. The most destructive habit for your reward system is checking your phone first thing in the morning. Because when you do that, you flood your brain with dopamine before your feet even hit the ground. This happens because whatever you do in the first hour after waking up sets the bar for how much dopamine your brain will need for the rest of the day. So when you check your phone first thing in the morning, instantly you've set a new reward baseline. So when you sit down to study or complete 2 hours of deep work, your brain is so stimulated that any type of work feels impossible to do. Instead, start your mornings in dopamine detox mode. No phone, no scrolling, no YouTube, just silence and presence. When you allow yourself to go about your morning routine without external stimulus, it resets your reward threshold. And when you start working, it actually feels good and you're able to focus for longer without getting distracted like you did before. Even if you meditate, anchor your vision, train like a monk, there is still one modern addiction that silently hijacks your brain reward system. And it's not what you think. Because here's what nobody tells you. The most dangerous dopamine spikes aren't just from scrolling on TikTok. They're from how we've trained ourselves to need constant stimulation, even during the things that are supposed to be hard. Workouts, showers, walks. We've conditioned our brains to expect constant stimulation every minute of the day. So when there is no stimulation and it's just you and the work, your brain panics. It gets jittery and it gets bored because it hasn't practiced being present without a reward. And this is why this next protocol, as brutal as it sounds, is one of the most powerful ways to lower your reward threshold and retrain your brain for focus. And this protocol is simply exercising without music, podcasts, or pre-workout motivational videos. Just silence and boredom. Because when you remove external stimulation during exercise, you create one of the most effective environments for retraining your brain's reward baseline. Exercise is already stimulating. Your body's engaged, blood is flowing, and feel-good chemicals are being produced. But when you remove external stimulation from the equation, your brain starts to recalibrate to what feels rewarding. And the bonus is when you train without music, your default mode network, which is the brain's background processor, activates in new ways. And that's where some of your best ideas and creative breakthroughs emerge. It's exactly why ancient philosophers walked in complete silence, why monks move mindfully, and why some of the most focused people on the planet choose discomfort on purpose. But here's the part nobody talks about. Even if you do all this, you can still wake up foggy, still feel like you're operating at 60%, still wonder why deep focus only shows up on some days. And that's because the protocols we just covered, they're just input tools. Because if you want to truly maximize your mental performance, you have to look deep. That's why I built a neuroscience-based protocol that I've used with hundreds of founders and executives to help them scale faster, eliminate brain fog, and get more done in 4 hours than what most do in 12. It's not a course, it's not a hack, it's a repeatable system for peak mental performance. So watch this video on the screen right now where I break down how you can use this protocol to unlock peak mental performance and truly maximize your work output.